This is the 2024 Honda Civic Type R in championship white, an iconic color for an iconic vehicle. This vehicle is extremely sought after in Canada with high amount of demand and low amount of supply. This Civic Type R retails for about 53,000 Canadian dollars, but you'll be lucky to find one at retail because the waiting list for this is very long. To the point where on the used market or slightly used market, this thing at the time of filming is going for about 65 grand, which is actually perfectly in line with something like this, the Acura TLX Type S. The TLX Type S here in Canada retails for about $66,000 and you can actually get them. So in today's video, we're going to compare these two vehicles, exterior, interior practicality, go for a drive, and then I'm going to let you know, or we can decide which one you should be getting. Okay, let's talk fundamentals. The Civic is in the compact segment and is offered in hatchback form or a sedan form, whereas the TLX is in the mid-size premium segment and is only offered as a sedan. The TLX is about 13 inches longer than the Civic Type R, but the Civic Type R is only about 3/4 of an inch narrower than the TLX. The TLX here in Canada is only available in all-wheel drive and an automatic transmission, whereas the Civic Type R is front-wheel drive and manual only. When it comes to exterior looks, the Civic Type R definitely looks a lot menacing and a lot more aggressive compared to the TLX. It's got wide fenders, a huge rear spoiler, triple exhaust, as well as red Honda badging. And we know red Honda badging means it's fast. The TLX, on the other hand, is a lot more subtle, a lot more mature. It's got nice little spitters in the front, as well as a quad exhaust tailpipe. But overall, it's a more grown-up look. Comment down below, let me know which look you prefer. Under the hood, the TLX uses a 3-liter V6 turbocharged engine that puts out 355 horsepower and 354 pound-feet of torque. It is mated to a 10-speed automatic transmission to all 4 wheels. On the other hand, the Civic Type R uses a 2-liter turbocharged inline-4 engine that puts out 315 horsepower and 310 pound-feet of torque. It is mated to a 6-speed manual transmission to the front wheels only. The Type R also has a helical limited slip differential in the front, whereas the TLX has a torque vectoring rear differential. For the suspension setup, the TLX uses a double wishbone suspension up front, whereas the Honda Civic Type R uses a dual-axis McPherson strut in the front. They both have multi-link suspension setups in the rear, and they both have adaptive dampers. Both of these vehicles also have 4-piston Brembo brakes up front and a single piston caliper in the rear. The TLX uses 255 wide P0 tires all around. These are in 20-inch rims, and the Civic Type R uses Michelin Pilot Sport 4S tires that are 265 wide and they're 19-inch all around. Coming over to the trunk area, both of these vehicles offer a good amount of trunk space, but the Civic Type R, of course, being a hatchback, offers a lot more practicality in terms of the cargo aspect. Both of these vehicles can fold down the rear seats for a lay flat option. However, the Type S, the TLX Type S, actually has an X-brace in the middle there, which hinders the cargo capability a little bit more. Nonetheless, before we check out the inside, let's check out how these two vehicles sound. Although the Civic is the smaller of the two cars, it actually offers more interior space, and it's extra apparent in the rear seats have plenty of legroom and an abundance of headroom as well. The only problem here is that I don't get a fifth seat, a middle seat. Instead, I did get two little cup holders, but not even a center armrest. Jumping over to the Acura, I do get a middle seat in the rear here, but for some reason it sits so much higher. I definitely don't have enough room here. It feels just like a booster seat. I don't understand why it's so high up. But anyway, moving back to the side, I do get enough room for legs as well as headroom, but it feels a little bit more cramped here compared to the Civic. The materials though, on the other hand, it's much nicer in here. You get leather as well as suede combo here, whereas on the Civic Type R, you only get cloth seats. The front seats of the TLX is definitely built for comfort. I get really nice leather seats with plenty of adjustability, including bolster adjustments, which is nice to have. Both the TLX as well as the Civic Type R gets a fully digital instrument cluster, but on the TLX I find that the text, especially the fuel economy text, is a little bit too small. Over here we get a big display in the center as an infotainment. However, it is not a touch screen setup. Instead, you have to use this little trackpad to control everything in that screen. This trackpad gets a lot of hate from everybody, but in my opinion, it's actually not as bad as people say. It does take a little bit of time to adjust to it though. The TLX also has the ELS 3D Studio sound system, which sounds a lot better compared to the Bose system in the Type R. Over in the Type R, the first thing you'll notice are these bright red sport bucket seats. They are super supportive, they look really cool, and they definitely make me feel like I'm a race car driver, although I'm definitely not. The infotainment on here is a 9-inch unit that works great. It's a touchscreen system, I have no complaints. It also has a LogR app, which shows you all kinds of cool information like temperatures, oil temperature, boost pressure, G-forces, tire loading, so on and so forth. Also, still can't get over these knobs. These are great. All right, now let's jump over to the TLX and go for a drive. Off the line, there's no competition between the two. The combination of the super handling all-wheel drive and the 10-speed automatic transmission allows for a drama-free, replicable, quick launch every time. The TLX with the V6 also sounds better in my opinion. Ooh, nice. It also makes a nice pop on wide open throttles when you switch gears, which is fantastic. Oh, that's nice. The 10-speed automatic transmission does a good job for day-to-day smooth shifts, as well as quick shifts in sport modes. However, if you want to switch gears on your own in manual mode, it feels a little clunky and is a little bit slow. It's a little bit reluctant to shift gears. And also, for some reason, it wouldn't allow you to shift first gear in manual mode. So you cannot shift down to first gear, nor can you shift up from first gear. The first gear is always automatic no matter what. The Type R, on the other hand, is significantly more engaging to drive with that 6-speed manual transmission. The gates feel notchy, and the ratios are spot on as well. This is nice. This feels really good. And sounds great too. The Type R also has auto rev matching if you desire to use it or not, but unfortunately, we all know it's no fun shifting from first to second, back to first to second to first. in traffic in a manual transmission. So not everyone will want to do that. It does slide the back out. Look at that. Fantastic. Which, speaking of handling, the super handling all-wheel drive system makes the TLX feel very planted, very neutral through most corners, and on abrupt accelerating turns, it does slide the back out a little bit. However, it doesn't fully mask the weight of this thing. The TLX Type S is significantly heavier than the Civic Type R. The TLX Type S is a little over 1,900 kilos, which means that it's over 450 kilos or 1,000 pounds heavier than the Civic Type R, meaning that the power to weight ratio is nothing close to being as good as the Civic Type R. Which brings me to our cue to switch cars. Although you are slower off the line, you do shoot forward as soon as you get grip, meaning that although difficult to achieve a consistent time, people in the FL5 Civic Type R community have been able to do 0 to 60 time in about 5 seconds, which is extremely impressive for a front-wheel drive car. The throttle response on this Type R is also crazy good for a turbocharged car. Listen to this. Pretty dang fast in my opinion. And then you also get these blow-off sounds, which sounds insane. Ah, those are fantastic. It's so addicting that I don't even think I miss the TLX soundtrack. Which brings me to handling. The Type R performs better in most corners, but on super low speed corners, the TLX will take the jump. The TLX also gives you more of the traditional driving dynamics, with the rear pushing you out of corners instead of the Type R that's pulling you out of corners. Suspension in the Type R is definitely stiff, but in comfort mode it's not too bad. I've set up my individual mode to have comfort suspension instead of the Plus R setting that it just dials everything up to 11. The TLX also gets adaptive dampers, but it doesn't feel that different between the different modes. And although the TLX is more comfortable or less stiff compared to the Type R, it's not by much. Anyway, let's head back and we'll sum up. Alright, to sum up, if having an automatic is a must for you, you already have an answer. If having all-wheel drive is a must for you, you also already have your answer. The TLX in a lot of ways is the more logical option as a daily driver, but the Type R is just that much more fun to drive. In the perfect world, I'll have both of these vehicles sitting side by side in my garage. But what do you guys think? Which one would you pick? The Civic Type R for more fun, more aggressiveness, or the TLX Type S for more composed, more refined, and more mature drive? These two vehicles are both about the same price, considering that if you want to get one, you can't, and if you want to get one right now, you have to pay for a little bit of a markup. So, let me know down in the comments below. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.